Uncle Christophe, and this is Isabella.
Yeah.
The story I'm about to read is called Lucille Travels at Christmas, a Jamaican child story by Jasmine Ntoutoume. Lucille always daydreamed about traveling. She never left her island Jamaica in real life, but in her daydreams, she would travel to faraway places. She'd be brushing her teeth in the morning and
whoosh!
A camel would appear in the bathroom mirror. She would climb up the sink and onto its back. Lucille would disappear into the desert, squinting in the sun while eating the delicious figs which someone had mysteriously placed in the camel's side bags. And then, suddenly, she would realize that the figs were tasting like toothpaste. Lucille even daydreamed about traveling when she was at school. Sometime on the very top of the monkey bars, Lucille would find herself at the very top of the Eiffel Tower, far above the people, the coconut trees, and the thick green mountains. She would be shouting,
Bonjour, bonjour, hello, hello,
to everyone in Paris. And then suddenly, she would hear a voice coming up from below.
Lucille, must you really make so much noise? Please come inside.
Lucille would look down from the tower and see Mrs. Grant, her classroom teacher.
Oops.
Lucille's friends would tease her about her travels to the faraway places that she would visit, places that didn't even dare to dream of. But really, they were always excited to hear about Lucille's travels, especially Kevin and Lisa, who had few storybooks and no television at home. Lucille lived in a pretty blue and white Caribbean house with her mother and father. At home, she would run up and down the stairs, twirling bath towels, and sound would be... Lucille would find herself in the middle of a parade in China, doing cartwheels while twirling a long, brightly colored cloth banner. There would be many smiling faces in the crowd, and then suddenly,
boop!
Lucille would be on the bottom step, looking up at her father's squiggling eyebrows. Lucille would say,
What exactly are you doing?
Lucille didn't know exactly.
She was traveling.
One Christmas Eve, while lying in bed, Lucille tried to sleep, but try as hard as she could, she really tried. She tried counting sheep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 100.
She still couldn't sleep. So she tried to travel. She began to stare at the candy canes her mother had hung in the window to attract the reindeer's attention.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 30.
She even counted their stripes and their wrappings.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 65.
But still, Lucille could not travel. Lucille sat upon a star. And while Lucy sat upon a star, which was twinkling, the whole sky seemed full of bright promises, and Lucille made a special wish for Kevin and Lisa. As she looked down below, things became clearer, and she could see that each camel carried one rider. They seemed to look up at her and nod their heads. Then Lucille's star began to move a little to the east, a little to the right, and the riders followed. Even from up so high, Lucille could see that these were very important people. As Lucille's star moved closer to them, she could see one person was very dark-skinned, almost black, wearing bright robes, and another who was very pale-skinned, almost white, wearing bright green robes, and another, brown-skinned, who was almost as golden as the robes he wore.
They were all princes traveling.
The night wind was lifting the sand and making it hard to see, but she could see the prince's robes fluttering, and she could almost hear the flap, 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 flap sound the cloth was making, and it swirled about their faces to keep away the sting of the desert sand. As the princes approached the entrance to the small town, Lucille saw them climb down from their camels. Their robes were swirling all around them, and they unloaded their side bags. Each prince took out what looked like a gift wrapped in silk cloth. They held these gifts up in both hands as they approached the town. The gate opened. Lucille's star moved even closer and was twinkling directly above the three princes as they entered a stable just behind the gate, when suddenly she heard a loud noise. Santa Claus and his reindeer were racing by with a mountain of gifts on the back of a sled.
Merry Christmas!
He shouted to Lucille and to the sky full of stars.
Merry Christmas, Lucille. Wakey, wakey.
It was her mother's voice. Lucille opened her eyes. She knew at once that she had traveled. She remembered the three princes carrying their gifts. She also remembered Santa Claus speeding by carrying the gifts Kevin and Lisa were sure to get. And she knew at once that her wish had been answered. Lucille jumped out of bed, hugged her parents, and bounced down the stairs to open her gifts. She shouted,
Merry Christmas!
as loud as she could to hear mother, to her father, to all the camels, to the city of Paris, to all the parades in China, to the princess, to Santa and his reindeer, and to everyone on the island of Jamaica. End of story. Crick crack, monkey break your back on a piece of pomerac. Thanks, guys. Any questions? No? Do you know who the three kings were? Yeah. In this story, it was the three princes, but everyone remembers the three kings. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.